What is up, guys? Welcome to my first The Flash review of 2018, being The Flash Season 4, Episode 10, titled Trial of the Flash. So let's get into the review. So this episode, as you can tell, is The Trial of the Flash. You can tell that about the title. If you've seen the episode, obviously, you could tell it's Trial of the Flash. And The Trial of the Flash, if you don't know, is a storyline from the comic book where the Flash, not Barry Allen, kills Reverse Flash by mistake during his wedding. So it's pretty cool that that happened during the wedding, and this Trial of the Flash thing happened right after their wedding, or a week after their wedding. He was framed for murder, but in the comic he wasn't framed. He actually accidentally killed Reverse Flash, and he was sentenced to it for it. He was put to trial for it, and the difference between this and the show is that, first of all, it's not Reverse Flash, it's DeVoe, or the Thinker, and also he didn't actually kill the Thinker, he was framed. Also, something interesting about that storyline is that Cecile Horton was actually created for the Trial of the Flash. She debuted, I'm pretty sure she debuted in that storyline, and after it was done, she was gone forever, and she has not appeared in the comics since, as far as I know. So the fact that she was included in the show, and then they probably set her up to be a part of the Trial of the Flash from the beginning, and now that she's actually participating in that trial, it's actually pretty cool. But the fact that the trial is over already does not bother me. I expected it to last like 2 or 3 episodes, which I probably shouldn't have, because it would have been annoying if we had to wait another week to find out if he's innocent or guilty. It's better this way, how it's only 1 episode. But the whole storyline, the whole arc is not over yet. He's in prison. So him being framed for murder, that DeVoe thing, it's not over yet. He's still in prison. And I expected the Trial of the Flash to be more than 1 episode, but I'm glad it wasn't. Honestly, I'm glad that the Trial of the Flash, the actual trial, was 1 episode, but in the whole storyline, the Trial of the Flash, the storyline, it's still going strong, and hopefully it lasts until like episode 15 or 16, honestly. It would be really cool if it lasted that long, but honestly, it probably won't. It probably will last till episode like 12 or 13, but you know what? If it's more than 1 episode, then I'm fine. The actual trial, the trial itself could be 1 episode, but the storyline of him going to prison, being framed for murder, that should probably last for a little bit longer than 1 or 2 episodes. The trial itself was very entertaining, honestly, and I really enjoyed it for the most part. We got some great acting from Grant Gustin and also the captain guy, and even Iris. Candace Ben was pretty great in this episode, honestly. Her whole conversation with Marlise DeVoe, that was a great scene. And Marlise DeVoe's actress, I can't remember her name at the moment, but she was really great in this episode. She was a little, like, over the top in that one scene where she was talking about how she was crying over DeVoe. That was a little, like, fake, I'd say. But other than that, I think she was really great in this episode, especially when she was, like, crying and then she turned, after she said, "If you insist," and she turned right back to being herself. That was a pretty great scene, and the trial in general was pretty awesome. That one scene where Iris is about to tell the world, or the trial, the judge, that Barry is the Flash, it was a big selling point in the trailers, or in one of them, where she's saying, "I gotta tell you something that'll change the course of this trial," and then she says, "Barry Allen is," and then obviously it cuts away. And then that whole scene where Barry runs up to her and slows down time except for her and him, that was a pretty great scene. During this trial, there was that one scene where Joe was going to plant evidence, and honestly, you could have taken the scene completely out of the episode. It wouldn't have changed a thing, but I'm really glad they didn't take it out. I'm not saying they were going to take it out or anything, but I'm saying it's not the most like necessary scene to be in the episode. But I'm damn glad that it's in there because it's an amazing scene. This scene right here is why I actually love Ralph's character. We saw more of this in episode 4 when he argued with Barry about whether or not she should have been kicked off the force, if Barry even should have ratted him out for this. And then we see him more here when he's telling Joe what will happen if he plants the evidence. It's actually a great scene, and you got some great acting from Ralph's actor, Hartley Sawyer, that's his name. And also, the fact that Joe didn't actually plant the evidence, that was actually surprising. I did not see that coming. It's not something you see a lot on these shows. Somebody actually listened to somebody else. He heard what Ralph said after that amazing scene, and he actually listened. That's kind of unprecedented in these shows, and because of that, it's become unexpected. And the fact that he actually listened and didn't plant the evidence is pretty awesome. So, moving on from the trial to DeVoe, I said in my episode review for episode 9, I'm pretty sure I said it in that video. I also said it, I definitely said it in one of my trailer breakdowns for this episode, that I'm a little iffy on whether or not I like the new actor for DeVoe, because Neil Sandilands was great as DeVoe, and seeing him in a new body, in Brainstorm's body, in a new actor, I was a little iffy on it. And seeing the episode, I actually feel like my iffiness was not misplaced, but at the same time also not really needed, because he wasn't terrible. He was actually pretty good as DeVoe in a new body, but he was good, but he wasn't amazing or anything. I feel like Neil Sandilands is so much better. This new actor's fine, he's okay, but Neil Sandilands should come back as soon as possible. I don't know how he'll come back because his body is dead. The character's body is dead, so there's really no way they can bring the actor back. But I guess they can find a way, like DeVoe creates a robot or something that looks just like DeVoe, and he puts his mind into it or something like that. That would honestly be awesome, because Neil Sandilands is a main character on this show. On this season, there's no way that they'll put him in only 9 episodes, or however many episodes he was in the first 9 episodes, and call that a series regular. There's actually no way. So I doubt that he won't come back. I think he will, but question is how and when. For now, I think the new actor is fine, but only if it's temporary. We learned more about DeVoe's plan and why he's doing this. Basically, he's putting Barry in jail to distract Team Flash and to distract the Flash to make it so that he can't stop his plan. His plan being, we don't actually know what his plan is. He said that Barry couldn't grasp the plan, which means that we can't grasp the plan, which means if it doesn't make any sense, that's probably a smart way out of making a convoluted, stupid villain plan. For the writers, it's a scapegoat for them, saying that it's too complicated for even Barry Allen, because he's basically a genius. At least he is in the comics. I don't know about the show, but he's clearly really smart. He's a scientist. So the fact that he can't understand it, there's no way that we'll understand it. So it's a scapegoat if the plan ends up making no sense. But I think it's really cool that we find out more about DeVoe in this episode. We really didn't know much about him, about his plan until now, but now we know it has something to do with what's wrong with the world. So aside from the trial of the Flash and DeVoe, this episode featured a villain of the week. Well, technically he wasn't a villain, it was just a meta. So this was the meta of the week, being Fallout. And I gotta say, he was probably the best bus meta that I can remember other than Elongated Man. The ones I remember are Kilgore and Hazard. Or who else was in there? I don't remember, but Kilgore was terrible. Hazard she was fine, and I'd say Fallout was actually pretty good. I like the effects, the green effects on him. I thought that the way Team Flash took him out was really cool. How Barry ran around him and created a vacuum so that if he explodes, it contains the blast, which I don't know if that's sound science or anything, but it was cool. It was reminiscent of how he takes out tornadoes like all the time. He did it in the pilot, he did it in the season 3 premiere, so it's cool that he just did the same thing. He ran around somebody to defeat him. Obviously, Fallout's not an amazing villain or anything, but for a villain of the week, especially with all the pretty bad villains of the week we've had so far, I thought he was not bad. Oh, and back to the trial, because I actually forgot to mention this last part, which is when he was actually found guilty, and you see this contrast between the Flash being honored by the CCPD and Barry being incarcerated and found guilty and put to shame by this judge who is roasting him like crazy. But you see the contrast there, and it shows that if he actually gave away his identity and said he was the Flash, people would have believed him. People obviously love the Flash, and if he explained everything that he did that happened with DeVoe, even as crazy as it sounds in real life, people would have believed it, especially in Central City, especially after 4 years in Central City. people would have believed it. People would have believed the Flash. So I like that contrast they showed at the end. And then Barry was jailed and put in the same cell as Henry Allen, which is awesome. Obviously, it's not awesome for him or anything, but the fact that he was put in the same cell as Henry Allen is actually really cool. When he was walking in the cell, the second I realized that it was staying there, staying on him, I thought, yeah, this is gonna be the same cell as Henry Allen. And then it pans to Henry Allen was here. That was really awesome. So, in conclusion, I thought this episode was actually really good. I was glad that the trial only lasted one episode because of that, we don't have to wait another week to find out if he's guilty or innocent, because honestly, I already knew he was going to be guilty because of what we saw in the Season 1 finale. But either way, this episode was really good. It had some really great moments, especially the Ralph Dibny moment where he talked about what will happen if Joe plants the evidence. That was probably my favorite scene from the episode. But I thought the trial was great. DeVoe's new actor was good, but only if he's temporary. But anyway, I give this episode a 9.2 out of 10. Let me know what you thought about the episode in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.